For years, the FBI called him the most dangerous hacker in America. Not because he carried weapons, not because he stole money, but because he understood people better than computers. They said he could shut down phone networks. They said he could crash corporations. They even said he could trigger nuclear war. Most of it wasn't true, but what was true terrified them even more. Because Kevin Mitnick proved something the world wasn't ready to admit. The weakest part of any system isn't the technology. It's the human being using it. Long before the headlines, before the FBI manhunt, before the legend, Kevin Mitnick was just a curious kid in Los Angeles. No money, no power, no connections. But he had one obsession: systems. As a teenager in the 1970s, Kevin became fascinated with how things worked, especially systems that weren't supposed to be understood by outsiders. Bus routes, phone networks, internal codes. He learned that if you understood the logic behind a system, you didn't need permission to use it. One of his earliest tricks wasn't digital at all. Kevin memorized Los Angeles bus transfer punch codes, small holes punched into paper tickets. With that knowledge alone, he could ride the city for free. That moment shaped his entire philosophy. If you know how a system thinks, you can make it do what you want. Before hacking computers, Kevin hacked phones. In the 1970s and early 80s, the telephone system was the backbone of America, controlled by companies like AT&T and Pacific Bell. And it had a fatal flaw. The system trusted anyone who sounded like they belonged. Kevin became part of a subculture known as phone freaks. People who explored the phone network using tones, codes, and social engineering. He learned how to reroute calls, access internal operator systems, listen to restricted lines. But most importantly, he learned how to sound confident. Kevin could call a phone company employee and say just the right words, technical enough to seem legitimate, casual enough to avoid suspicion. And they would give him access. Not because they were stupid, because they were human. By the early 1980s, Mitnick crossed from curiosity into illegality. He accessed Pacific Bell systems, stole internal manuals, learned how the nation's phone infrastructure truly worked. In 1988, Kevin Mitnick was arrested and convicted for computer and wire fraud. The court gave him probation and a warning. Stay away from computers. Stay away from phones. To the justice system, the problem was solved. To Kevin Mitnick, it was just the beginning. After violating probation, Mitnick went underground. No permanent address, no bank accounts, no credit cards. He lived off aliases, cash, and cloned cell phones. This wasn't chaos, it was discipline. Kevin understood surveillance before surveillance was mainstream. He rotated devices, used compromised phone lines, avoided patterns. He wasn't hiding from the police. He was outthinking them. And during this time, his hacking escalated. Minnick wasn't stealing money. He wasn't destroying data. What he wanted was access. He broke into Nokia, Motorola, Sun Microsystems, Pacific Bell, defense-related systems, and software repositories. He stole proprietary source code, not to sell, but to understand how elite systems were built. This terrified corporations, because if someone like Mitnick could access their deepest secrets, who else could? The media took over the story and exaggerated everything. Kevin Mitnick was portrayed as a digital supervillain. One journalist claimed he could start nuclear war by whistling into a phone. Another suggested he could crash the entire internet. None of it was true, but fear doesn't need facts. It needs a face, and Kevin Mitnick became that face. The FBI escalated. This wasn't just an arrest warrant anymore. It was one of the largest cyber manhunts in U.S. history. Agents tracked phone calls, monitored ISP logs, followed digital footprints across states. Kevin responded by staying one step ahead. For over 2.5 years, he lived as a ghost. He had no digital identity. He didn't leave a stable lifestyle. He was constantly moving. The turning point came when Mitnick hacked into the systems of Tsutomu Shimomura, a respected computer security expert. This wasn't personal. It was curiosity, but Shimomura took it personally. He teamed up with law enforcement, using his own expertise to track Mitnick digitally. This wasn't cop versus criminal. It was hacker versus hacker. In 1995, Kevin Mitnick was finally located and arrested in North Carolina. The arrest was dramatic. Agents feared he could escape electronically. They cut phone lines, removed computers, seized storage devices. But the real shock came after. Kevin Mitnick was held in solitary confinement for months. Why? Prosecutors argued he was too dangerous to be near phones or computers. They claimed he could hack systems just by touching a device. Again, not true. But fear won. Kevin was isolated, denied computer access, treated like a digital terrorist. Civil liberties groups protested. Experts argued the punishment was excessive. The court didn't care.
Because whenever I had to make a phone call, they would actually shackle my arms, shackle my legs. They'd walk me like 30 feet to this room that had a bank of payphones. The guard would look at, the numbers I can call and say, which number do you want, man?
In 1999, Kevin Mitnick pleaded guilty to multiple counts of wire fraud and computer intrusion. He was sentenced to 46 months in prison, time already served included. But the damage was done. Kevin had become a symbol, not a crime, but of a system that didn't understand the technology it feared. After his release in 2000, Kevin Mitnick did the unthinkable. He went legit. The man once called America's most dangerous hacker became a cybersecurity consultant. He advised Fortune 500 companies, tested systems legally, taught corporations how attackers actually think. The same techniques that once terrified the government now protected it. Kevin Mitnick didn't beat firewalls. He didn't break encryption. He exploited trust. Every breach began with a conversation. Every intrusion started with confidence. Every system failed because a human made a decision. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Technology evolves. Firewalls improve. Security tightens. But human nature, it stays the same. Kevin Mitnick was never the danger they claimed. But he exposed something far more dangerous. A world racing into digital dependence, without understanding its own weaknesses. Because in the end, the most powerful hack isn't code, it's persuasion.
Good evening.
This is Fraudify, where we unmask the world's biggest scams. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fraudify for more.